petrol or something when we just went past you.
I'll pull up here and have a look. Take 200 litres of fuel up for a fisherman, and then when he gets up in, he's got one empty drum.
To make a bad day worse, the pallet of fertiliser has collapsed.
Oh, they're slip things, aren't they?
Petrol, fertiliser and extreme heat. It's an explosive mix.
The fire that was up on the hill behind us, before you know it, that'll be down here.
Tasmania's Huon Valley is ablaze.
Got real again.
Trucker Ricky Sutcliffe is driving into an inferno, rescuing the bulldozer drivers cutting essential fire breaks into the forest.
3 days is to move and no time. It's all happening now.
For over a month, out-of-control bushfires have been burning through 180,000 hectares of pristine forest and logging plantations in the southwest of Tasmania. The rampaging fires are destroying homes and laying waste to the logging industry this region relies on.
We're just trying to sort of minimise the loss of timber for the income of the valley.
Logging brothers Neil and Adrian Bennett own one of the state's largest timber businesses. While they've been busy fighting the fires, another contractor's mill at Southwood has caught fire.
We lost a couple of sheds at Southwood yesterday. The main buildings are still standing, and we have heard we've lost eight houses. So it's not good. Things are getting pretty hairy.
The fires have already cost the Bennett brothers a whopping $400,000 in lost production, while they've been out fighting the flames.
And we're trying to stop it to come up on this other side. We've got a dozer up in there.
Yep.
They're working with some helicopters.
We're sending Rick and crew out to try and stop the fire, save our machinery. It's just moving that quick. We don't know where it's going or where it's going to finish.
Facing a dangerous, unpredictable fire front, Ricky relies on Harry Price, driving ahead in the safety car to spot danger.
Hey, Roger, mate. Yeah, you got concrete on up that hill there, so you should get good traction.
Cutting fire breaks in the thick of the forest is life-threatening work.
Our job's putting containment lines around the fire edge to contain the fire within them lines, and also access for the fire tankers to get in and extinguish the fire to the edge, try to keep it within them lines.
For the bulldozer drivers, so far, it's been a losing battle.
The wind's just been all over the place. It's just twists and turns of bloody fire. And 1 minute you're alongside the fire with the dozers, and the next minute it's coming at you. You get a containment line in, and the next minute the wind sends it in the opposite direction. So all that you've worked for, you've lost. You suck it up and keep going, I guess. No one will give in. You can't.
The flames advance at a frightening pace. 3 bulldozer drivers send out an SOS. They need rescuing from the heart of the inferno. Ricky responds immediately.
Best I can say is hold on. 50700,
But in the chaos, his orders on where to go and who to rescue first keep changing.
There, Ricky.
Yeah, I got you.
Turn her around.
What are we doing? Back to the quarry?
Yeah, mate, yeah. You have to find somewhere for you to turn, though.
Got to get up the thing first.
Time is running out for the stranded drivers. In the remote north of Western Australia, the roads are unforgiving.
So, you know, it's just rough, bony corrugations and flogs the crap out of everything.
For husband and wife trucking team Nick and Joe Atkins,
I've seen it worse.
Maybe, we'll see.
they wouldn't have it any other way.
We love where we go, so we wouldn't be doing trucking anywhere else.
On the outskirts of Kununurra, they're putting together 3 trailer loads of assorted supplies for a remote top-end community.
There's certain things you just can't put in a plane, like a machine or a whole Toyota or something for that matter, so they like to be able to try and get gear to the people that need it.
Keeping the customers happy is crucial for the survival of their family trucking business.
This trip's a bit of a mixed bag, a bit of a milk run, so we've got some vehicles, we've got trailers, we've got hay, we've got mulch, we've got
Playground equipment for the school.
a couch,
We've got a bloody troop carrier full of plants in here.
we got white goods, we got
General bits and pieces.
all stuff that is nice and awkward to pack.
It's a giant jigsaw puzzle.
Show us what you're made of, honey.
But some pieces of this puzzle should never go together. 5 drums of fuel for local fishermen. And a stack of fertiliser. An explosive combination.
It's always in the back of your mind, and if it does catch fire, what do you do?
Transporting the volatile freight safely is their biggest challenge.
And the road takes its toll on the freight, the gear, us.
From Kununurra, Nick and Joe will drive nearly 600 kilometres on 2 of the toughest roads in Australia to make it to Columbaroo. And joining them is Lynn, a new family member, making her debut as an Outback trucker.
I think she'll turn out all right for a truck dog.
See what sort of mischief she can do in the truck, pull things apart and wreck it and give me the all the time.
It's a dawn start for Lynn's first day on the job.
Ready to hit the road.
We're on the dirt from here on in, right to Columbaroo. Here's where the fun begins. There we go. The road's rough, it's just shocking for the freight and the bloody truck and trailers too.
The Pentecost River crossing is always tough, but today Nick's especially cautious.
We'll stop just on the other side of here and have to check for rocks in the jewels.
His truck is fitted with brand new drive tyres. Nick doesn't want them cut to shreds this early in the journey.
Bloody rocks get stuck in between the jewels and rupture all the bloody tyre. I don't want to be tired. New drive, especially with new drive tyres.
The experienced trucker's caution pays off.
That's him.
Nick solves one problem, but Joe's concerned about another.
This drum's just got a little leak in the bottom of it.
Corrugations, they bust the bottom of the drum out. They don't handle foam and rattle along the corrugated road.
With the combustible cargo of fertiliser, the leaking fuel is a serious hazard.
Fuel, it is very flammable. You know, and sitting on a bloody deck of a hot trailer all day, you got bloody shit rattling around
And it's only going to get hotter and rougher on the corrugated roads ahead. Ralph Crystal is no ordinary trucker.
You know, I've always liked trucks. Somehow or another, it's gone down the track of moving pretty wild things, from train carriages to big aeroplanes.
He's shifting a relic from another age, a 1956 Scottish Aviation Twin Pioneer.
A lot of things to think about when you're carrying something like this.
At a plane graveyard in Bankstown, Sydney, Ralph's been hired to transport the antique aircraft.
I wonder sometimes how I ended up getting myself into some of these bloody jobs like this.
The Twin Pioneer is an aviation classic, but it was heading for the scrapyard before it was rescued by plane fanatic Rob Walker.
They're very rare. This is the only opportunity I will have to get an aircraft the same as this in my lifetime.
There's only 5 Pioneers left in the world. Rob wants this one to be a prize exhibit in his own personal plane museum.
I've got a lot of old aircraft at home. Future generations will see this aircraft.
A bit of pressure here because I don't really want to disappoint Rob because he's hard in saving this airplane.
From Bankstown, Ralph will haul the Pioneer through Sydney traffic before driving 500 kilometres west to Rob's farm in Barellan. To load up, Ralph has to get this plane airborne for the first time in decades.
Lift the whole lot up, put it on that flat top. If it doesn't come out straight, it's going to be pretty ugly. Do a bit of damage.
It's a guessing game. There's no blueprint for lifting the fragile 4-ton, 13-metre load.
Because it's such a rare aeroplane, we just don't know enough about them. We just got to come up with a way to make sure it doesn't crush it when we pick it up. Oh, you just spin it. Okay.
You under it.
Rob the crane man's a bit worried about squashing this aeroplane.
Lose control of the lift, and they'll damage the plane's delicate fuselage.
Those back bolts are going to take all the weight till those front ones pick it up.
Gee, that's a lot of weight on those little bolts, isn't it?
Bearing the strain of the 4-ton load are just 4 bolts.
We're worried about these bolts. Just bloody happens, so...
If Ralph's calculations are wrong, they'll rip the roof from the plane.
Come up slowly.
The bolts are holding, but Ralph struggles to control the Pioneer.
Hey, look out, it's tipping up.
The takeoff is turning into a crash landing.
What's happening?
You find a spot up here, I'd just turn her around.
Right, you on me way.
Ricky Sutcliffe is racing to rescue dozer drivers caught by bushfires blazing in Tasmania's Huon Valley. But he gets the order to turn his truck around.
Yeah, I'm coming up. I'm there coming.
Ricky needs to get back down to the quarry to rescue another dozer driver.
If we don't get these fellas out of this quarry, we won't be able to get back in here to get them. So we've got to get them out of here quick. Come on.
At the bottom of the hill, 2 carloads of tourists appear out of nowhere, driving straight into the danger zone.
Who in their right mind would want to come out here? Pull them up, mate. Send them out. Bloody idiots. Bloody tourists. Why the hell would you want to... me up the bastards? Why would you want to come out into a fire?
Time is running out for the stranded drivers. Hot embers are leaping ahead of the main fire front.
Look up on the bank there. You see where that fire was behind us was spotted. Spotted in 2 places there. And we get these blokes out of it while we can, while we can still get in here.
Ricky's beaten the fire front to the quarry. It's a race against the clock to get man and machine out of danger.
We'll run you down to Southwood and get you out of it. We'll just drop this one off and we'll just go straight back. Straight back and pick Charles up.
Ricky drops one dozer in the safe zone. But extreme heat forces the second driver to evacuate the quarry on his own. With a top speed of 16 kilometres per hour, the flames could overtake him within minutes.
Just sneak it back out here to get the second dozer now. Go and get Charles. It might be a little bit worse up here, so get in and out quick. We're here. Thank Christ. We're here in a safe zone, so... Hey, look at that. We're leaking my radiator. Bloody hot. Bloody stressful. Here's the cavalry's turned up. What have we got here?
With the fires continuing to ravage the forests, lives and homes are being threatened. For Ricky, there's no time to rest.
We've got to go out past all the burnt, try and cut it off coming down over the bank or something, I think. So we've got to get moving.
In Western Australia, 130 kilometres into the treacherous Gibb River Road, Nick and Joe find a casualty from the corrugations.
It's not good. Find a leaking drum on your trailer.
With no loader, they can't fix it on the side of the road.
So when we get to Drysdale, we can either flip that drum over or we can just grab an old empty from there and we can just drum pump it across. And
Rightio, we'll see how it travels from here. Oh, back to the rattle, rattle, rattle.
This load's getting no relief from the harsh road.
And all the freight's constantly up and down on the trailer and just shakes everything to bits. Well, Drysdale, here we are, our first bloody drop-off.
At Drysdale Station, there's a welcome family reunion. Nick's son Jaden is employed as a station hand.
oh, you've been working hard.
Yeah. What are you having a beer for?
Oh, yeah, good to see you.
Knock-off time.
Jaden thought his working day was done,
Can't be 5 o'clock yet.
but Dad has other ideas.
I need to lift that boat trailer off, so then you can unload the hay. You got a set of slippers for your fork?
No, I've got slippers for the tractor.
Without the right equipment for unloading, Nick gets creative.
We'll use the tractor and the forklift, one on each side, and I'll just pull the trailer out from between it.
Tilt the back a bit.
Father and son work together in a precision manoeuvre. One wrong move now. Joe and Nick will deliver nothing but scrap metal.
If one goes down too quick, especially the tractor, you know, it just slides straight off the fork.
In southwest Sydney, Ralph Crystal has his work cut out. Trying to load a 13-metre vintage plane.
Stop! Stop!
Nicky?
Starting to creak a bit. Yeah, so that's good.
With the plane hovering above ground, the trailer can inch into position.
Now just keep it even, don't panic. Just keep an eye out so you're not pushing in on the fuselage anywhere.
Touchdown.
Righto.
But at 5 metres wide, this load is double the allowed width for transporting on the road.
We're going to have to pull that centre section out.
Ralph and the team need to remove the wingspan from the fuselage to be able to move it.
Yeah, they never let go easy. Stop!
They just broke those little rivets, that's all. Up.
Still hasn't let go yet.
Here for the minute.
Tilt it back.
It's touch and go. But the delicate surgery is a success.
Wow, looks like a plane crashing here.
With the wingspan gone, it's time to hit the road.
She's not like your normal run-of-the-mill aeroplane. In some ways, you know, this is priced as cargo. Geez, look at that traffic banked all the way back. For some blokes like me that don't come to the city every day, you know, this is probably worse terrain than some of the hills and roads.
Barely 10 minutes into the journey, Ralph's unusual load attracts unwanted attention.
Yeah, just look in the mirrors there, we've got a highway patrol coming up behind us now. We better pull in and just hopefully everything will be okay. Shit.
Must be pretty hard going and pretty steep because they were saying they've got to have 2 dozers work it together.
Tasmania's Huon Valley is an inferno. Truck driver Ricky Sutcliffe is racing to deliver bulldozers, desperately needed to clear fire breaks.
She's pretty bloody steep, very hard pull.
The fire's not the only danger Ricky needs to be aware of.
You get these big trees, any of the bastards could be burnt to the point and they could fall over at any time. The last thing we want is for something with about 50, 60 tonne to come and land on the roof. They could come down anywhere, anytime. Here we go, back up the bloody hill again. Still got a bit more steeper to go yet. She's been a bit hard on us. She's one of the biggest bulls in Australia coming up here. Yeah, she's got it pretty well up in the temperature. Bit of skipping, bit of spinning, bit of lugging back to about 900 revs. Old girl, she done well. We're up on the top here now, so she hasn't done a bad job. Get out and unchain him so we he can get to work.
The dozers begin to clear fire breaks, but high winds are forcing a fire front to the top of the mountain. Ricky needs to be ready to get the dozers out in a hurry.
Well, we've got to keep an eye on the wind and that, because if it changes, it can race this one here straight up the bank towards us, so we've got to go, we've got to go.
The fire's picked up speed, moving through the forest at over 10 kilometres an hour.
They've decided that there's too much fire activity going through the dozers, and they're pulling them out again.
The evacuation is too late. Within minutes, the flames are licking at the top of the mountain.
Very spooky, very eerie. Look at that wind. The wind's really picking up. Keeps at that stage, it will start blowing embers.
The fire front shifted so fast, Ricky and the dozer drivers are now cut off.
I was told we was going to meet him here. Now he's saying they might be going to get us to try and go up over the top of the hill and pick him up the top of the hill there. But I don't know why, I don't know what's going on.
The flames intensify. It's a firestorm.
I think she's time to head for the hills, boys.
Drysdale Station, remote Western Australia. Nick and Joe are caught in a delicate balancing act.
Stay there.
Removing a boat trailer from a tall stack of hay
Steady, just try to bring them down both together.
requires two machines and pinpoint accuracy.
Very, very slow.
The trailers safely landed, but the leaking fuel drums aren't so lucky.
How much is left in there?
Huh?
Someone's going to be spewing when they get up there.
The trouble with Colombo being so remote, if their freight gets destroyed on the way, you can't just whiz back into town and get another, like, that's it, you know, that could be it for another 6 months or so. You gotta learn to jump, hey? Hop up! Hop up! Go!
Right, we're ready to go. Going to turn the up here very shortly, I reckon.
There's no surprises for Nick on the Columbaroo Road.
This is what busts the arse out of them drums.
But it's a tough first trip for his new dog.
Oh, Len, it's mongrel idea, these corrugations, aren't they?
The corrugations are harsh on driver, dog and cargo. A fellow road warrior soon sounds the alarm.
Yeah, you got a copy there, Truckee?
Yeah, mate.
We smelled a lot of petrol or something when we just went past you.
Yeah, mate, I've got a 44, but it's got a hole in it.
No worries, mate, cool.
Thanks, mate. You have a good day, eh?
Same to you, bud. See you, mate.
I'll pull up here and have a look. Make sure no more 44s are ruptured the arse out of them. Because this is what'll do it. Pain in the arse.
The constant pounding from the road is destroying the ruptured fuel drum.
take 200 litres of fuel up for a fisherman, and then when he gets up in, he's got one empty drum.
To make a bad day worse, the pallet of fertiliser has collapsed.
Oh, they're slippery things, aren't they? These bags just do not want to stay there.
Petrol, fertiliser and extreme heat. It's an explosive mix.
So the thought in your mind with fertiliser and, you know, you get a leak in drum, if something does go wrong, what do I actually do to get myself out of that predicament? I've got fertiliser all over.
In Sydney, Ralph Crystal's giant cargo has caught the eye of police. They've launched a 2-day blitz on trucks to ensure all vehicles comply with the regulations.
So just do a quick check over the trailer and make sure it's all safe, yeah?
Thanks,
So
yeah.
just grab your books.
Everything should be right.
No worries.
Thanks, mate.
Ralph's sweating that his load is not too long, wide or high. It's a nervous wait, while the vintage 1950s plane gets the once-over.
How we going there, Ring, all right? Or?
It all seems safe. Scrubs are down well. Tyres are good.
It passes the test with flying colours.
Drive safe. Take it easy.
Have a good one, mate.
You too, mate.
See ya. Everything's okay today, so that's good. A bit of relief.
On the move again. But getting through Sydney is no easy ride.
Get up under this bridge here. We're right on the height. It says 4.4. You can see she's had a bit of contact with a few trucks over the years. You know, we just better check this thing going under. I'll just back right off here. A bit hard to see back there, but she's just coming in under now. She's come under there good.
Hitting open freeway, Ralph can finally put his foot down.
Damn it.
But not for long.
That door on that airplane's come open. Door's picking up a lot of wind.
If the door gets damaged, there's little chance of finding a replacement.
Don't like pulling up along here, it's a bit dangerous.
Keep going, and Ralph's priceless cargo will take a beating.
Look up here.
Trapped in a hellish inferno, truck driver Ricky Sutcliffe faces an ash tornado.
Watch out behind you. Look at it go.
Further up the hill is bulldozer driver Ernie Harvey. Fate unknown.
Want to drive up through that? Drive up there, pick that dozer up, have that wing spring round, blow it straight in the windscreen. They can stick that up their arse. I'm not going up there.
It's too risky for Ricky's large rig. A fire truck heads up to look for Ernie.
Well, the tyre brake they thought was successful wasn't. It's jumping.
Ricky prepares the trailer, hoping for Ernie and his dozer to emerge unscathed.
We just want to get it on and get it out of here quick.
The truckers have had no radio contact with Ernie for 40 minutes.
Look up here. Poor little possum, look at him. He's shaking his head, he's been burnt.
It's an agonising wait. But the fire truck returns alone, unable to battle through the blaze. For Ernie Harvey to get out, he'll need to drive through a wall of flame.
Oh, look.
Ernie's made it out.
Pretty wild up there, mate. changed around southerly and come back at us on our containment lines. I had no choice but to come back through the flames. Otherwise I would have been stuck up in there, so she got pretty hairy up there for a bit. So I was lucky to get out, really.
With the fire front about to hit, the team need to get out fast and make it down the mountain.
The fire's jumped the containment line up there. In other words, it's jumped the fire break, so this is where it's heading for. Where we are now, this is the way it's running. We want to get out, because no one wants to be in the middle of this when it comes racing down through them gullies. I'm coming out.
With not a second's rest, the radio brings another urgent request for a dozer.
Halfway out.
The fire has reached the edge of town. Homes are burning.
There's some bad going down out there.
On the side of Columbaroo Road, Nick and Joe are struggling with fuel leaks and busted fertiliser bags.
Oh, they're slippery things, aren't they?
A potentially volatile mix.
They make bloody explosives for mines out of urea and diesel, basically.
It needs restacking before any more fertiliser hits the trailer deck.
I've got it. Mongrel stuff. Well, I only got about another 20k.
That's 20 kilometres on cargo-killing corrugations.
Getting into the mountain goat country now.
Just short of their destination, there's one last obstacle for the fully loaded 3-trailer road train.
I'll be amazed if we do get up here.
You can do it, baby.
Oh, come on, old girl. She got it. She got it.
Not by much.
Just arrived in Columbaroo. That's where all this freight's got to get unloaded here.
They've made it, but with some casualties.
Yeah, I hate telling people that we've lost a couple of $100 worth of their freight along the way.
The fishermen get 4 of their 5 fuel drums.
No worries, mate. Hey, he's going. I got a whole heap of young fellas into it.
The community get all of their supplies.
Don't drop the fridge.
All in all, a good day at the office.
No longer flammable.
Mate, I'm bloody glad it's over.
Everyone seems pretty happy, even with the few little broken things we had and the leaky drum and the lack of fertiliser. So, no, all things considered, it's pretty good. And now we can go home. Slowly, slowly, slowly.
Just get this on quick.
On a Sydney highway, Ralph Crystal's 60-year-old vintage plane is feeling the strain.
It's obviously catching a bit of wind.
With the traffic too close for comfort, Ralph doesn't want to spend too long on roadside repairs.
You know, they never slow down when stuff's happening.
He's counting on an extra strap to keep a loose door in place.
Now we'll just put this on real quick. We'll get down the road and fix it, have another look at it. Right, underway.
With Sydney finally in his rear-view mirror, Ralph gets a clear run west. into more familiar territory. But outback roads bring their own challenges.
The road's starting to deteriorate a fair bit here. It is a real concern. Like, it just lifts the bloody aeroplane up and throws it up into the strap. And it's shaking things to bits here at the moment.
Ralph hopes it's turbulence the old plane can handle.
Bloody hell.
At last, Ralph has the destination in sight.
Is that you up there, Rob?
Up there.
Oh, mate, that's a relief. That road was starting to test me out.
The vintage plane has survived the journey, but getting it off the trailer undamaged will be a challenge.
If we can pick that up and we get some tyres out of there, it'll just get that strap through clear.
It takes 2 tractors and a lot of ingenuity to hoist the delicate fuselage to the ground. If either tractor is out of sync, the plane will be in for a rough landing.
Whoa, Rob, don't touch it. You stay there. See, come up here, Cole. Whoa. Okay. Looks like this tractor's just got enough height to do that. We're swinging.
Ralph directs both tractors.
Okay, just hold it there.
One small mistake and the plane could tip.
Oh, steady, Rob. Steady. Okay, up please, Cole. Just tilt back a little bit, Cole. Whoa, yeah, she's just a bit jerky. Hold her there. Don't do anything until we're well clear.
Now to land the plane safely.
Righto, down we come. Okay, we're coming down. There we go, touchdown.
It's a safe landing, and after a grueling day, the pilots can celebrate.
Hey, mate.
Ah,
Job well done.
finally. Thanks, Rob.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Rob.
Sometimes we have to stretch things a bit to make it happen and to get it all to come together. You know, it's just good to be able to do that for Rob.
No matter how hard we go, like how hard we go to get these dozers there and how hard they go to put them tracks in, it's just another kick in the guts every bloody day.
In Tasmania's Huon Valley, a resident's home is under siege from raging wildfires.
Going out to fire break around the house might be a little bit too late. Fire's going around the house here already, apparently, so these boys are going to have to absolutely get cracking up here. Get the f***ing thing out of the way!
The house just over here and the fire's coming at it rather fast.
The fire reaches the fence line, and the trees surrounding the house are already alight.
Fire, she's racing through there, heading straight for us.
With the dozers off the trailer, Ricky needs to clear out fast. The fire is racing towards him.
We got to go in a minute. There's nothing we can do, so we best get out of that.
Suddenly, the wind changes direction, and Ricky is driving straight into the inferno.
Flames that tower over the truck, both sides at the same time, and it's terrifying. First thing that comes into your mind is, what do I do? Do I just slam on the brakes and go backwards, or do I just hold it flat and get out of it? You're full of diesel. You've got hydraulic oil spilled over you from the dozers, and that stuff's flammable, and that's the scary part.
Ahead, the wall of fire is impassable. Ricky needs to head back the way he came.
Where the f***'s the Denison turn off?
But he can't find a place to turn his 20-metre trailer around. Eventually, he spots an opportunity.
Back there, she's just had a big blow up and she's just gone ape all up the side of the road, across the road over onto the Denison side, and she's just beating us at every turn.
It's been a day of defeat. Finally, some good news.
Oh, you never believe it, we've got a victory. I got a fire breaking around Hines' house. The fire just blazed through, blazed around the break, still burning a little bit here and there, and it's gone. Gone back the other direction, so. Victory. Saved his house.
And there's more good fortune. A desperately needed rain shower.
It's got to help in ways, I suppose. Keep the fuel damp and the grasses damp and stop it from travelling so quick, which gives everyone a chance to sort of get in and extinguish it or get some brakes around it.
The war against the fire is far from over, but today's battle has been won.
Pretty good, actually. That something actually turned out good for once, rather than going home feeling depressed of a night. We've had some victories. The first since it's actually started. Because we just want the big bugger out. We won't give up on it. We'll just keep going.
Some trouble will happen somewhere. This bloody wind and dust blowing all day is just really painful.
Veteran trucker Steve Grahame has been called in to clean up a mess.
This is a real mongrel Mad Max load.
He'll be hauling away the cars and trucks of people who took on Australia's harshest outback roads and lost.
I just don't want to know what happens sometimes to trucks like that. I can imagine. When I look at that cab, I have to think the worst. So I don't really want to think about it. It's just a sad state of affairs all round.
Having travelled the outback for over 40 years, for Steve, these wrecks are all harsh reminders of the dangers he faces every day.
You know, when you crash trucks and crash cars, it does enter your mind that someone could have come badly to grief there. And, you know, it makes me sad to think about that.
Steve will be towing a 3-trailer road train with a mixed load from Alice Springs to Perth, 2,500 kilometres away. Much of the journey's on dirt roads that are often remote and always treacherous.
In all honesty, I think if you haven't been in the game for a long time, you don't want to pull loads on like this.
It's a difficult load. First up, precision reversing, backing a 20-wheel tipper that only just fits onto his trailer.
If I miss something here with all this junk going on this road train, it'll bite me. It'll come back and haunt me. So I have to plod along, do it slowly, miss nothing and get it right the first time. Righto, Tony, would you mind straightening me up with this, please, mate?
Next, the cars, dollies, truck and trailers.
Now I'm going to put this car on that trailer and a dolly on that trailer. And then I'm going to put that trailer with the car and dolly on top of it, on top of that trailer. Right, that's the last trailer loaded. All I've got to do is chain the freight on, put the road train together.
Ahead is a gruelling and uncertain journey with his faithful companion, Bella.
And someone wants a bit of a cool down.
At the end of it all, Steve's assembled a monster of a rig.
We would like to do it in 72 hours, but with this load and with the conditions and everything, it's 4 days.
His name is Russell McDonough. But folks in the trucking game know him as Russell Crusher. Because that's how he makes his living.
Going out bush, crushing cars.
Crushing fridges, washing machines, push bikes, prams, corrugated iron. That's me. I love it.
Anything that's metal gets crushed, tossed on his trailer and sold for scrap. Business can be good and bad, depending on the scrap metal price. But Russell just made a big bet on good times, buying a new improved metal muncher from overseas.
Built in Spain, but we found it in India.
It was just what the crusher was after.
I went over and had a look, came back over here, saved up my pocket money, went back over, picked it up, put it on a boat, it landed in Perth, sorted across the desert. Here we are.
He hopes it will expand his business.
We're a bit stuck for room here, so I might just, I'll just crush it.
Before he takes it on the road, Russell wants to fix up his new crusher.
We'll put the front window back in it, some stuff that fell out on the dirt coming across here, give it a proper paint job and get it out working.
That won't be cheap. To pay for it, he's taken a marathon interstate trucking job.
We've sort of parked it up now and we're going to head off with our truck and just earn a bit of money.
From the red centre of Alice Springs, 2,000 kilometres east to a mining town in Queensland. Right from the start, there's warning signs overhead, severe weather all around, and the first part of the journey is on dirt. If a grader hasn't been through, the road is guaranteed to be rough.
Usually when it gets to its worst, the grader gets called. So sometimes the grader's been there a week before I get there, and sometimes it gets there a week after I've been over it. Most of the time, it gets there a week after I've been over.
A bad road and a monster load. 3 trailers, 2 with heavy roadwork machinery, and a third carrying steel tipping bins.
We're just putting these bins on top of each other and welding them together so they'll travel better. And I can take 4 bins on one trailer instead of 2.
But today, nothing is going smoothly.
This.
And then, a more serious setback, bringing everything to a standstill.
Well, we're just getting ready to go. The starter motor in this truck's been sounding a little bit funny. It's just dropped its lunch altogether now.
A dead starter motor means a major repair job before Russell can go anywhere. Far north Western Australia. Husband and wife trucking team Nick and Joe Atkins.
This is like a massive tropical storm bearing down on us.
Have spent nearly a week
Gonna get wet here.
battling storms, bog holes,
sticky crap.
It's a great way to wreck a day.
and frustration
What happened to over there?
I tried to steer and it's just sucking me in.
as they push themselves and their truck to the limits to deliver vital supplies to 2 remote communities.
So every time we need anything, they just go, yep, we're coming up soon, all right.
Before the wet season closes roads for months.
Right in the middle of it.
On the 5th exhausting day, they finally made it 500 kilometres into the community of Columbaroo.
It's a little bit wet, so I'll have to just drive around the airstrip and come back in behind it.
Nick's thankful Joe's up ahead, driving the loader with the trailer in tow.
It makes it much easier with 2 of us doing, especially in a trip like this where you get bogged and stuck. And she does do a good job. It's a bloody godsend to have her around. She gets stuck into it. She's not frightened of getting in there and bloody getting her hands dirty, that's for sure. Just back that up to the ramp.
No. You do it before it runs out of air.
Their first unload is a 4-wheel drive. A small load, but the pressure's still on.
It's all got to happen pretty quick and in time and split-second stuff, and it's really easy to mess up, and yeah. That's one bit of freight delivered, and those suitcases off to their new home.
As the unloading continues, grateful locals turn up to collect their freight.
Bloody amazing, mate. They got through that mud. I didn't expect them at all, but this is great. Superhuman. Without you guys, we'd all starve out here.
To be able to get stuff out to people, especially at this time of year when it's been such a nightmare trying to get in here on this run, we've really had to work pretty hard at it, so it's a real relief to be able to actually then get this gear off in good nick at the other end.
Nick and Joe will consolidate their load.
Right, we'll pull this out there.
And leave a trailer here.
It's too sandy to be able to tow 2 out where we're going, so we're going to tow 2 half the way to Honeymoon, and then we'll leave 1, go in with 1, pick up the second, then come back for the third, and back home.
It's hard to believe, but the road gets even worse up ahead.
Sand and scrub all the way. Pretty quiet out there now, so if we get stuck there's probably not much chance of a tourist or someone going to come along and help us out.
Just try to get as far as we can. I'd like to get to Honeymoon. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get to Honeymoon.
Honeymoon Bay is a remote camping ground on the edge of the Indian Ocean, run by Joy and Les Davey. Joy's pregnant and desperate for a new power generator, essential to run air conditioning through sweltering summer temperatures that average nearly 40 degrees Celsius.
You can just turn it on and live normally, I guess.
Clouds building up once again, so yeah, it's afternoon storm.
It doesn't look bad now, but in another couple of hours she might be bloody pissing down rain. Just try to get it done as quick as we possibly can, just so we don't end up like a scenario on what we just had. It can sort of only go 2 ways, a wet road or a rough road. That's basically it.
Up ahead, 25 kilometres of narrow, deep, sandy track that a road train should never try to tackle.
The further we get in, the narrower it gets. It literally is Billy Goat track, it's 2-wheel track.
It's really quite narrow, there's 2-wheel ruts. It's a high sandy bank on both sides. We can't get off if we get bogged down now in the hot sand, and we'll just, just get stuck in it. There's no turning around or...
Steve Graham's Mad Max mongrel load is ready to go.
Time to get out of here.
A 50-metre-long monster that's going from Alice Springs to Perth.
Yeah, well, we're on the road. Got the load on and fueled up.
2,800 kilometres on the dirt back roads.
When you're pulling a load like this one across that road, you've got to be careful.
It's got even an Outback veteran like Steve worried.
It's not the sort of load to throw onto a mongrel road like the Chukaruru road and necessarily expect to come out the other end. You can't get too tired, you can't let yourself get tired, you can't wander around, and you can't stop checking. You've got to keep checking everything all the time. You get one loose strap or one loose chain and you've got cars up on top of trailers, things like that, then you've got real problems. As soon as it's loose, fix it.
Steve makes another unscheduled stop.
Righto, I'll have a look at this load. I don't see any problems with it in the mirrors, but it pays to check. Nail it all down. Come on, dog, come for a run. Yeah, you'd hate to have a toolbox come open, you'd lose... Hello? What's going on here?
It's a new backup fuel tank full of emergency diesel.
I've got a leak out of my fuel pod. What am I going to do here? It's made a mess over here. I just put 800 litres of fuel in this pod and hate losing diesel. If I get the filler hose and put on that and clamp it off and put the hose back into it, I'll save it. What I'm going to do, attach this and tie it off up the top, and then the fuel can't escape. It can't get above its own height. That's good. That could have been a major drama, but now the fuel, all the fuel can do is go in the pipe, and the furthest it can go is to its own height there.
Back on the road, Steve's a temporary tourist as he cruises past Uluru.
Well, you'd have to say we're in the middle of Australia. I don't know where the dead centre exactly is, but there's the rock and there's the Olgas. So that's pretty well the middle for me.
But the safety of the bitumen is about to end.
We're getting on the dirt now.
From here on, the road is red and rough. It'll take all of Steve's experience to keep his truck and his giant load the right way up. Back in Alice Springs, Russell the Crusher is flat out trying to replace a broken starter motor.
Probably a good thing it's happened here because I've got a spare here. I just got a young fella coming around, he's going to give me a hand.
It stopped him from setting off on a 2,000-kilometre journey across the continent.
We'll pull this one off, we'll take the other one off, then we'll just swap them over. It's just as easy to put another one on because we're here and we got one. Yep. Something's gone wrong inside here.
But they don't mess around when the Crusher's in a hurry.
"50 minutes from disaster to running again. Not bad."
Good to go. Now there's just the weather to check on.
Just ringing up to find out.
Russell's wife, Nikki, is doing the ring around.
And we're just wondering what the road's like and if a road train will get through.
If the road's closed, Russell will have to make a 600-kilometre detour, heading north, then east, instead of cutting through the centre, costing him time and money.
Did you have any rain out there last night?
These are the phone calls Russell dreads.
It is closed, okay. All right, well, thank you very much for that information. Thank you. Bye. No go.
Well, no, big trouble.
Russell's decided to delay his departure by a day.
And then just get up early in the morning and just go.
Hoping the road might dry.
Yeah, we've got all our trailers assembled down the end of the street here.
Next day, the news is bad.
Afraid overnight, it rained most of the way down the Plenty Highway, so it's more than likely shut. So we'll be going around the long way through Mount Isa.
At least he can get this monster 50-metre road train moving. Even if he's heading north when he wants to be heading east.
Yeah, I'm a day behind and I'm still in the Northern Territory.
Russell reaches the turn-off to the shortcut. He can't resist checking to see if the road conditions may have changed.
Pretty sure with the amount of water that's around on the side of the road here that this road's going to be shut, but just for peace of mind, I'll just sort of pull up here and walk down to the sign and have a look. They've listed as four-wheel drive only, which means, you know, they've got a weight restriction of 4.5 tonne, and we're around about 100 tonne, so we're well over that.
95 tonnes over the limit will be a hard one to explain to the authorities. Russell has no choice but to go the long, scenic way. Next morning, a new hazard.
It's a little bit hilly out here, and we've got a bit of a crosswind, and we've got a bit of a parachute on the back of the third trailer. We've got this pyrometer here that measures the exhaust temperature. We don't like to go over 6, but it's getting fairly close on some of those steep pulls back there. Once we get over the top and start running down the other side, it pulls back down again. But the gauges are all laid out here for a reason, and that is so that I can keep an eye on it and just make sure that I don't push it too hard and tilt the engine.
The gauges are important, and so are the warning signals.
Just popped the shutdown light, it's come on.
But with an extra 600 kilometres to drive, Russell isn't in a hurry to pull over.
I can sort of look at everything in front of me here, and there's nothing to worry about. Once I get everything all back down to cool down again, it should go out. It's, to me, it's not dangerously overheating, but this light's warning me that we're on the limit.
Nick and Joe have less than 20 kilometres to their destination.
It gets further we get in, the skinnier it gets. And sandier.
But on this sandy track, they're reduced to a crawl.
This will take us, buddy, a couple of hours to get in this, Pete. This is what it's like all the way.
A car and trailer coming the other way would stop them in their tracks.
If we have to stop because they've got to get their car and caravan up the sandy bank here, then that's all it could take to pull us up, you know. If we stop, then we might not get rolling again. It's almost the worst time of day to be travelling on this sand now because it's really hot. It's the middle of the day. It's, you know, the sun's burning down on it for the better part of 7 or 8 hours, and it just gets really slippery and it just wants to suck in your tyres.
You know, you just basically hope for the bloody best.
The next stage is the most hazardous, with tight twists and turns.
But we'll take the loader off here because it gets real windy up this last little bit. So I'll take the loader off here and take just one trailer in the McGowan's Honeymoon.
They'll leave one trailer behind, while Joe drives the loader the last painstaking kilometres.
And we're just nearly up at McGowan's Beach there, and we'll drop off their stores and then on the last 7K to Honeymoon. They're so bouncy loaders, like just the way they ride. A welcome sight is the fact that this broken down Hilux is far enough off the road that we can get past it. Sure glad that they didn't leave it right in the middle of the track. But I had to put the forks on and fork it up and chuck it off in the scrub because you can't get round anything on this track.
For Nick, it's just as rough in the truck.
It's not exactly the bestest flaming road to be driving a truck over, really. Just rock and sand. A lot of sandstone country in here. It's pretty hard. Just pure rock.
In his rear mirrors, Nick spots a problem.
Jumping off the side.
It's his quad bike, and he needs to fix it. Central Australia. Russell Crusher's road train is throwing up warning signals.
Just popped the shutdown light, it's come on.
It's telling him to cut the engine immediately. But Russell has a different take.
There's nothing to worry about. It's probably just sort of being careful, you know, like once I get everything all back down to cool down again, it should go out.
Another dial has been alerting him the exhaust is running hot.
What we're keeping an eye on here is the exhaust temperature. That varies by how much I put the accelerator down.
The oil gauge is also pointing to trouble.
That's reading quite high, but I believe it's got a faulty sensor. I think it's a false signal, and that's what's bringing on this shutdown light over here.
At least the water gauge is giving a normal reading.
Traditionally, the water temperature and the oil temperature travel together, and so like one can stop working and you can still tell what the reading is by looking at the other gauge. But the fact there's a difference between the two, I think that's where we're getting a false signal, which is throwing this light on. That reading that we're getting there just isn't right. I just know it's not right.
He's backing himself against those annoying gauges.
I've been driving this old girl that long. You get like a sixth sense. You can have no gauges working and you still have an idea what's going on.
The pressure to keep going is trumping the pressure to pull over.
As I'm reporting in, I'm getting the hint that they're really looking forward to seeing me, as in they sort of need the equipment that I've got.
But then, there's a gauge Russell can't ignore. He's running low on diesel.
Getting a little bit low on fuel, and if these things run out of fuel while they're hot, it's not good for them.
On these trips with no petrol stations for miles, he carries his own supply. 2,000 litres of diesel in 2 big tanks behind the cabin. It's a simple job to pump into the truck's main tanks.
Normally you just click that on there, click, click, turn the tap, diesel goes in here. Easy.
If you have the right gear with you.
The boys putting the fuel hoses and filters and everything in a box for me. The only thing they forgot was the adapter that makes the cam lock from that fit these pods. So I can't get the fuel out of there into my truck.
Steve Graham's on a road they call Australia's longest shortcut.
The Chukaruru Road is restricted to high clearance vehicles only, which is us.
A 180-kilometre dirt track that cuts through the desert from the rock at Uluru to the Western Australian border.
There is no weight restriction on the road, so I can travel it, but the road report is for four-wheel drive vehicles or high clearance vehicles only. Travel with caution.
On this section, a grader's working, closing the main track.
It's totally unpredictable what happens next.
Traffic's diverted through narrow detours.
If it's anything like normal, there'll be some sort of a challenge thrown at us out here.
No good for a road train the size of Steve's.
Trevor, the grader driver, do you copy?
He needs a helping hand.
Righto, mate, so I can sneak up on the formation at the start of it?
Steve's in luck. The formation is the wider, freshly graded section.
Well, that's good news. That's really good news. This is why I asked if I could get up on the formation. These detours around these new culverts are very tight for a triple.
He has a whole new road to himself.
Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. It's a bit of good old Outback, good manners going on here. People helping each other. It's a damn good thing. And now it's pretty cruisy. But I don't want to get too excited because there's another 1,100 kilometres to go, and let's see what can happen.
He doesn't have to wait too long.
Yeah, and why do I make these big, sweeping, stupid statements? You'd think at my age I would have learned. Within 2 seconds of being so happy with the road, it's gone to absolute corrugated crap. Can't believe it. Story of my life. Mongrel Mad Max load better hang on back there.
It's rough, and it's going to get rougher.
What I'm hearing is the West Australian side's terrible. It was pretty rough when I come across here 7 weeks ago. Now, if it's had 7 weeks of traffic on it, it could be really, really bad. We'll see. It's Outback trucking. You've got to take what you get.
In far north Queensland, Russell Crusher is in all sorts of trouble.
We're getting a little bit low on fuel, and if these things run out of fuel while they're hot, it's not good for them.
His engine's been running hot and burning up fuel.
The motor's really red hot. If it was to suddenly stop, it'd cool down abnormally quickly.
His engine's at risk of being wrecked. He needs to transfer fuel from his backup supply into the truck's tanks quickly.
The valve seats cool down quicker than the cylinder head, and they actually fall out. And then when you go to start the truck up again, the seats are out and the whole motor's destroyed. So it's particularly critical that I don't let it run out of fuel.
But he's missing the connector he needs to pump it.
Without that, I'm a bit buggered.
His solution? Siphon the fuel. But that means sucking on the hose, risking a mouthful of foul-tasting, toxic diesel.
I've temporarily overcome my problem by just running the siphon hose into there. But it'll take 2.5 days to fill this up. So it'll just keep the motor running while I work out what I'm going to do.
Russell's bought himself some time. But he needs to find that connector, or the engine will stall and could be destroyed.
Then I got everything except for the cam lock that goes on the thing. Oh, okay, mate.
Russell has a solution, but not one that thrills him.
Just got to get a couple 100 litres in here and I'll be happy.
Siphon again, but this time with a wider hose. A bigger chance of a bigger mouthful of diesel.
Right, steady, steady, we've got all day.
On the narrow, sandy track into Honeymoon Bay, Joe's leading the way in the loader. It's a terrible ride, but she can smell the ocean.
Pretty rare that we get to come all the way out to the coast. Really about as far, well, we're as far north in Western Australia as you can possibly get. There's nothing else past here.
She's keeping up the pace, so Nick doesn't get bogged.
I'm a bit worried in this really sandy bit here that I hope I'm not going too slow for him and he'll lose traction and then it might pull him up. If the radio on this is broken, he can't call me to tell me, so, you know, it could be waving his arms around at the back there, telling me to stop or go fast.
With no radio comms, Joe hasn't noticed the truck isn't behind her.
I think she's jumping off the side.
Nick's forced to stop.
Mongrel thing.
To save his quad bike.
Oh, that bike's bloody rattled right over the side. I didn't think it moved, just idling along here. I was just too lazy to put a rope on it. It's only going just up the road. We're only idling along, but obviously it's not going to bloody stay there.
This time he's taking no chances.
Rightio. That might hold on there. We'll see how we go.
Woohoo! Final coming up.
Joe's still unaware what's happened behind her. Until...
You think they're beeping?
I'm getting close now.
Next stop, the first drop-off at a property next to Honeymoon Bay.
We made it. This is where we have to be.
Delivery of one fridge and other necessities.
I've certainly moved some stranger things than fridges.
This epic supply run is almost over.
Another half a K back out to the turn-off and then another 7K on, much the same as what we've been on, so probably still a good hour or two away yet with only 7.5K to go.
Have a good trip, guys.
All right,
No
Matt,
worries,
thanks
mate.
so much.
Thanks, mate.
Nick and Joe can taste victory. One last push and they can finally head home.
We're going to get around there.
But suddenly...
Dirty mongrel.
And there goes a $600 tyre.
In the Central Australian desert, Steve Grahame is bashing through the wilds of the Outback.
It's hard to find a bit of road I like along here. It's going to be a long, hard day, this one, if this keeps up.
He's been warned the corrugation on this remote dirt highway is extreme.
I've heard it's real bad from the border onwards.
No good for a triple road train, carting damaged trucks, cars and trailers that bounce around, causing straps and chains to come loose.
It's just the mongrel corrugation, just flogging everything, smashing everything to bits. If ever you're going to have trouble with a load, it's this sort of mongrel Mad Max, chain-grabbing, strap-breaking sort of a load. All I know is I've got 1,000 kilometres of dirt. Could all be like this. The bloke said to me a while ago, I suppose you get used to corrugations after a while, and he came that close to me throwing him out that door. It wasn't funny. You never get used to corrugations and you never get to like them.
Steve has no choice but to stay on the corrugation. The deep, sandy sides are even more of a hazard.
I just heard two blokes talking about a truck that's bogged on the side of the road, so I'll just back off a bit in case anyone wants to wave me down.
A few kilometres later, the deserted truck.
Oh yeah, he's jumped up on the windrow. Well, that looks like the bitumen to me. I'll be glad to get on it, I think.
Finally, the road improves and welcome signs of civilization. And then, unwelcome ones.
Still, roadworks is part of the deal, isn't it? You can't have roads without roadworks.
Time to stop and take stock of the wear and tear of the last 1,000 kilometres of dirt.
This is where I'm going to pump up my steer tyres, put them back up as hard as I can get them, and then I'll go around and I'll knock this dust out of these wheels, check my load, and we'll keep on going. I'm back in civilization here.
He's also back in phone range. The end of the solitude he enjoys on these big outback runs.
As soon as I got in phone range, the phone went mad. I've got people with messages about this, people waiting for this. It's the usual story. I'm going to have to start ringing a few people and telling them they won't be seeing their freight tomorrow. They'll be seeing it the day after.
Russell crushes trying to siphon toxic diesel without getting a mouthful.
Wasn't real keen on siphoning it out of the pods and into the tank. It was easy for the first bit, but once it gets down about that far, it was going to involve diesel and in-mouth and wasn't going to be good.
He needs enough fuel to get him to the next town.
Yeah, I've got plenty of fuel in now to easily make it to Mount Isa.
While he has enough fuel, there's still the issue of the engine running too hot. Russell's been ignoring the red light on the dash, warning him to shut down.
I just know it's not right.
He's convinced it's a false alarm.
Just from experience, I know that it's getting a false reading on the oil temperature.
It's bugging him. Time for a Russell crusher solution. Unplug it.
We've got the light to go out. I don't think I've fixed the problem, but I've stopped that light distracting me. We're not travelling too bad today. We lost a little bit of time mucking around, getting that fuel in, but I'm going to be on target to knock over roughly 1,000 k's for the day.
In Mount Isa, Russell's in luck.
Yeah, we got this thing. It's not the exact cam lock fitting that I was after, but we'll be able to take the hose out and put it in here.
He can now transfer diesel from his emergency fuel tank.
With a bit of 100-mile-an-hour tape, we've managed to get the hose to fit, and we've now got the fuel flowing up through the filter into the tank here. This hose here will only reach to this one tank, so I'll probably just fill this tank up. It'll equalise across to the others.
Russell needs to make up time. He's due into Middlemount tomorrow. Pushing on into the night.
Fair few kangaroos out. I'm not real happy about that. We'll just knock up another couple hundred k's tonight and should make the whole process for tomorrow a bit easier. We've only got like about 600 to go now, so I'm back on track where I wanted to be.
But not for long.
Motor's just cut out on this old girl, mate. I'm going to have to pull up here somewhere.
The engine's lost power.
We've got to get this thing to cool right down, just in case it does cut out.
If the engine cuts out without cooling down, it could seize. Russell tries to jump-start it back into life. After a 500-kilometre slog through storms, mud and mayhem,
I hate being bogged.
Nick and Joe are within walking distance of their destination.
Getting close now.
Ready to celebrate.
Gonna get around it.
Until this.
Oh, you dirty mongrel. We were having a bloody good run too, we were.
One stick in the wrong spot. All it takes.
Their first flat tyre after days of hammering along truck-wrecking roads.
We're finally having such a great little run this afternoon.
This buddy just run over a burnt stump and just tore the side clean out of the steer tyre.
We're lucky it's our first splat of the trip. You know, we can't complain.
But buying a replacement will take a chunk out of their profits.
$600 down the tube.
At least we weren't cruising down the highway doing 95, because that's when you might rip the whole mudguard and bonnet off the truck or something and roll or run off the road and that, so you can't, you know, it's not dangerous getting it at half a kilometre an hour.
But this isn't going to be an easy fix.
The spare tyre for the truck is on that other trailer.
The trailer they left back down the track.
We've got a spare steer tyre, but we don't have it with us, which now means we've got to pull this bike off, ride 5k back to where we left the second trailer, and pick it up and put it on the back of the bike and bring it back out.
I'll be back in 20 minutes. All that for that mongrel thing.
The sandy soil will make changing the heavy tyre a tricky and lengthy job.
Very rarely you'll get a flat steer time.
Changing tyres, the curse of the Outback truckie. It's dusk by the time the job's done. They'll be camping one more night.
We're going to be getting into camp after dark.
First thing in the morning, they'll do the final run.
And let's face it, nobody likes looking for firewood in the dark.
Next day, Honeymoon Bay. And a warm greeting from a very grateful family.
Won't you be able to run all the air cons in the house?
Oh no! Baby's grown too.
Nick and Joe can finally deliver the brand new generator.
Come down a bit and crowd it back.
One that will power up their air conditioner and make life in the tropical north bearable.
Oh, they never fail us.
It's results like this one that make all the pain worth it.
Let's get out of here.
After 4 grueling days at the wheel, driving across half the Australian continent, Steve no longer has the road to himself.
It's getting busy now.
He's on the homeward leg, 3 hours out of Perth.
The hazards change. I think I'd rather be out on the Great Central Road, sometimes just dealing with the corrugations.
But at 53 metres long, he can't enter the city limits.
The maximum length a road train can be from here on is 36.5 metres. So I've got to drop the back 20 metres off, which is the back trailer and dolly.
To stay legal, Steve will offload his back trailer.
It's because of roadside furniture, roundabouts, people in cars. It is what it is. So that third trailer stays here, gets towed in by a contractor. I go in with these two.
By nightfall, Steve's on the outskirts of Perth. His 2,800-kilometre trek is almost over.
So what I'm doing is take this trailer home now, come back and get that one, and tomorrow we start to unload it. Tomorrow this poor old truck gets to its final destination and things get unloaded.
Next morning, the final delivery.
We've got to keep on cracking on, we've got to unload this load.
The crashed truck he's had on the back all the way, reminding him of the dangers of trucking life.
And of course, every time I look in the mirror and I see the tanker, it disconcerts me. I hate looking at the thing in the mirror. I look in the mirror and I get a sudden sense of, oh my God, am I going over? It's unreal, it's not good.
It's the end of the road for this written-off victim of the Outback.
Good to go, Travis?
And the end of another epic journey for Steve Grahame. After weeks away, Steve's back home.
Thanks, Travis. She's all yours, mate.
Finally time to stop being the trucker and be the family man.
Get some gear serviced and go and see the grandkids. I've got 6 little grandkids that need me to go and say good day to them. And I've got some presents to dish out. I'll go and buy some love.
On the outskirts of Perth, Steve Grahame is preparing for one of the longest journeys of his fabled 40-year career.
It's another run in the Outback, and this is going to be a good one.
Steve spent a lifetime riding the country's wildest roads.
This is seriously bad news.
Cutting his teeth on tracks not built for trucks. Now, with faithful sidekick Teeny, Steve's tackling 2 of Australia's most notorious dirt roads, the Great Central and the Tanami. And taking on both back to back.
You can get electric ones of these. And you get old like me and get unfit, so you're better off keeping the manual ones. This is a load of structural steel. This is my first trailer of steel.
Going on the back, 2 trailer loads of house frames for a remote Aboriginal community in Central Australia. It's just the first of 3 separate loads Steve has to deliver on this epic run.
take the middle road right straight through the guts to Alice Springs, unload this load, and then we're going to put a container of all things furniture, beds and cupboards and things, to take up the bloody Tanami Road, which is not without its challenges.
Making things even tougher, Steve's got just 9 days to do it, or he'll lose his next job.
So I reckon we got about 2,700 kilometres the way I'm going to Alice Springs, 1,000 k up the Tanami Road, and then 3,000, just under 3,000 k's back home. So that should be a good little run around the Outback.
From Perth, Steve will cross the Great Victoria Desert to Alice Springs, then head north through the Tanami Desert to Balgo and Halls Creek, before the long road home. It's an enormous loop, covering 6,500 kilometres, and nearly 1/3 of it is bone-jarring dirt.
So let's go, we'll get into it. Right, we're fueled up. Everything looks all right. We're on the road with this load. We're going Outback trucking, anything can happen.
This early in a journey, Steve should be feeling good about his truck, but a recent repair is playing on his mind.
I had a bolt break in the belly tank in one of my trailer fuel tanks. I've replaced that. I've just got to keep an eye on that. That fuel tank may have a bit of a leak in it, and I certainly don't want to run out of fuel out in the middle of the desert.
After 1,000 k's of smooth bitumen, Steve readies himself for the Great Central Road. He lets down his tyres for the battering ahead.
It gives me an easier ride on the corrugations and the bumps, and it does saves the truck.
The repair to Steve's fuel tank seems to be holding up, but under the bonnet, signs of an even bigger problem.
I seem to be developing an oil leak back here I don't like.
If Steve's engine runs dry of oil, it will quickly destroy itself, leaving him stranded, grounding his truck for weeks, and lumping him with a 5-figure repair bill. The Simpson Desert. A barren wasteland half the size of Germany, in the dead centre of Australia. In the Simpson, there are no roads, just shifting tracks across endless sand dunes.
Changes out over here a bit.
With limited supplies of food and water, it's easy to get into serious trouble.
Can't come out here real prepared, otherwise I might get stuck in the desert.
In 2012, a man perished, a mere 12 hours after breaking down. It takes a rare breed to drive and survive this desert.
What's the go with this bloody thing here now? You know about this, Grant?
On the edge of the Simpson, in the tiny town of Birdsville, 61-year-old Peter Barnes, or Barnesy, runs the only garage in town.
I don't think you're going over the desert, is it?
He's been a mechanic for 30 years and a jack of all trades for even longer.
I fix everything. You name it, I don't know, I do everything.
Barnesy's specialty, search and rescue missions deep into the Simpson.
First thing they think is, oh hell, how am I going to get out of here? But at least help is around.
His secret weapon, the Man. An ex-German army truck that's been modified to go where others can't.
Got a heart of gold though, this truck.
What it's got is a heavy-duty 13-litre V8 265 horsepower engine. And it's about to be put to its ultimate test.
Like 170 k's from here.
3 men are stranded in the desert, and only Barnesy has the gear and the know-how to find them.
It's got a broken axle, I reckon, in a Land Rover.
He's been told they've been there 2 days. He needs to rescue them before they run out of supplies. From Birdsville, he'll head west 170 kilometres deep into the desert to where he thinks the stranded travellers are.
It'd be good to average a bit more than 20 k's an hour, but if that's all it does, well...
But as he gets ready to leave, now a howling wind is blowing across the desert, shifting sand dunes and hiding tracks.
Yeah, I've got to make the car stay on there. It's rough, it's slow.
Barnsley's job has just got a whole lot harder. At his home office in Brisbane, Queensland, Peter Titoff, aka Turbo, has got a lot of time on his hands. It's a far cry from last year, when Turbo was flat out driving his truck.
Now it's world domination for P&J transport.
And flat out building a trucking empire.
Get myself into, 100, 200 trucks.
Pushing himself, his truck and his bank balance to breaking point. Along the bumpy road to riches.
It's a very risky chance I'm taking. It's completely it is.
But now, dreaming big is the last thing on his mind. Turbo's in survival mode. He hasn't had a decent job in weeks.
It just shits me to tears.
As hard as he tries, he can't find a load.
It's been pretty tough, pretty tough.
It's an owner-driver's worst nightmare.
A Fuso tipper truck to go from there to Darwin.
I'll have to get someone to give you a call.
I've actually got a road train sitting here waiting to load to go.
Well, also tell him to check his messages when I see him roll in.
Righto, thanks. Okay, mate.
Work dries up while the bills keep coming. And the lowest of quotes is never quite low enough.
I just gave him a price and he goes, no way, man, that's too expensive.
Truckie by day, roadie by night. For best mate, James.
Don't think there's going to be enough. This is James and Kissy's business. I come in, I assist with setting up, doing sound checks, so just basically a roadie. We have a lot of and giggles as we're doing it.
We met years ago at a karaoke, and we just sort of adopted each other as brothers. He treats me better than my own brother, so I consider Turbo family. He's definitely a better trucker than he is at karaoke, I've got to say that.
Next morning...
All right, mate, too easy.
News which is truly music to his ears.
Sunshine Coast to Darwin, 7-metre boat.
The loads start coming, and Turbo's trailers are filling up fast.
If they want it over the weekend, then, mate, I'll be able to be out and gone tomorrow morning, which would put it as Sunday.
As each tonne is booked to his truck.
682. All right, mate, too easy. Thanks, mate. See ya.
Another weight is lifted.
He's confirmed, yep, we want to book it all in. You imagine the world sitting on your shoulder. Well, half of that world has just been lifted off my shoulders. Right now, it's good.
Turbo's back in the game. Steve Graham's marathon 6,500-kilometre circuit through Central Australia has taken a turn for the worse.
I seem to be developing an oil leak back here I don't like.
He needs to find the source of the problem. But he can't see oil flowing from anywhere.
Might be mess from where the boys service the engine.
Steve hopes it's just spillage from a recent oil change.
Yep.
He'll have to take the risk and get back on the road.
And I'm going to try for about 400 k's tonight. That'll get me out past Chuckaroola.
Steve can't have any more delays if he wants to make the 9-day deadline for his next job. "100 k's up the Great Central Road, and Steve hits the end of the maintained track.
The road will get worse now. I start to worry about how well this freight will handle the Docker River end.
But it's not just hard on the freight. Constant corrugations are hard on the body. A bad road can have 2,000 ridges every kilometre. On a journey like Steve's, that adds up to millions of violent bumps. shaking truck and driver to their very core.
Rough as what we reckon it would be.
Then, through the dust, Steve spots something wrong.
Well, this strap's broken because the road's so badly corrugated. Everything's vibrating and shaking and rattling and rubbing together, bouncing up and down. That's my concern. People don't like to receive their freight broken. With a bit of luck, I'll get to the Olgas by dark.
He submits himself to more punishment.
Might be a long, slow afternoon doing the last couple of 100 Ks. That's Outback trucking, I suppose. You get it good, then you get it bad.
Steve's now endured 400 kilometres of pounding corrugations. And neither the other side of the road nor a slower speed can offer any relief. The sun's almost gone. Driving in the dark on this road would be inviting disaster.
I'll just pull up and keep going in the morning.
Another strap has snapped.
Probably just something sharp up the top there for the corrugations vibrate.
The house frames are holding together, but Steve's schedule is falling apart.
I would have liked to have got to the bitumen tonight, but this road's too rough to go that quick.
Steve needs to be in Alice Springs early tomorrow morning, but with 600 Ks still to go, those hopes have been left in the dust.
Where are we?
It's 4 a.m. in Birdsville, Queensland. Barnesy has a serious day ahead of him.
Oh, well, we're heading off. 5 hours earlier than I'd like to be awake.
Tourists have broken down 170 kilometres to the west. Barnesy's heading into the hostile Simpson Desert to find them.
I never know what's going to happen, so...
But first, he's got to climb a gigantic 40-metre sand dune. So notorious, it's got its own name.
Well, we're just in Big Red now, so this is the start of the sand hills. And if I can leave my tyres up, I do. But it might not go up here, you know.
Strong winds have pushed the sand around, making the dunes softer and boggier.
That lip on the top of those sand hills blown up from that half dust storm yesterday.
He's cleared the first part of Big Red. But a steeper hump is still to come. The truck's tyres are losing grip.
That's the end of us.
Round one to Big Red.
Soft down the top, that's from the wind. Blowing up the yesterday.
He'll have to let his tyres down and hope that'll give him the extra traction to get over Big Red. But with low air pressure, his tyres are at greater risk of puncture.
Gives a bigger footprint, you know, in the sand.
If Barnesy can't clear this dune, 3 men will be at the mercy of the desert.
Let's go. See, we'll give this a go.
I was stressing like there was no tomorrow. You know, I could feel my hairs turning grey.
After weeks without a big load, things are moving again for Turbo. 4 different customers urgently need freight moved to Darwin, and they want Turbo to do it.
I can get back to doing what I love and what I do best. Raising hell on the roads.
From Brisbane, Turbo will head north to Charters Towers, before the long haul west to Darwin, a bitumen slog of almost 4,000 kilometres. But most importantly for Turbo, desperately needed cash from this job will go a long way to repairing his hard-hit business.
It's the old saying of Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. But in my case, all the king's men and all the king's horses could put me back together.
Yeah, mate, straight back.
He's got a long day ahead of him, getting 4 separate loads onto his 2 trailers.
As always, go, go, go.
First on the back, a unit to test truck brakes in its own custom-built trailer, worth $150,000.
That's right there, go back.
Load number 2, a $50,000 boat for a doctor in Darwin.
I'm just sort of trying to line it up down the centre of the container pins.
You're right.
Now to pick up a truck, load that on, chain it all down.
Hauling different loads for different customers means a lot of extra work for Turbo.
It's just going to be a long day.
Leaving his loaded trailer behind, Turbo heads deep into the suburbs for his final pickup.
This is going to be very friggin' tight.
Turbo has to navigate up suburban streets, not designed for a 20-metre truck and trailer.
I need absolute quiet on this.
He thinks he's nailed it. But his blind spot is much higher up.
Oh.
Extra repair bills are the last thing Turbo needs.
Only 200 k's to go to delivery.
In Central Australia, Steve Grahame has left the dirt behind him. He is now getting close to Alice Springs. Problems on the road have cost Steve his unload window.
Just means unloading and reloading will go into tomorrow.
He needs a fast turnaround in Alice to make up time.
I've got 4,000 k to go to get home, and I think it's the 7th today, and I'm supposed to leave for Darwin on the 15th. I've got to keep an eye on the clock here. Well, there's the McDonnell Ranges. I'm just about to get into Alice Springs now and get into the yard. It's good to get here and hand it over to someone else.
But any relief is short-lived. Only 2 workers are available to unload Steve's truck. And worse still, they can't rush it.
These frames, once a lot of the restraints are off, the whole damn lot can come falling over. It has happened, so you can't push them. They've got to just take their time.
Steve is already half a day behind and is worried he'll lose more time on the next leg.
When I think about the Tanami, it's a notorious road. It's 1,000 kilometres of... It can be 1,000 k of pain sometimes. It'd be nice to see it going faster, but you can't make things happen faster. This is going a lot slower than what I thought.
Try as he might, Steve's losing the race against the clock.
I can't make it go faster. And I wonder what's happening now. We might be going for Smoko.
It's a standstill. Steve, Teeny and the next load are going nowhere. On his rescue mission into the Simpson Desert, Barnesy and his truck may have met their match.
It's off down the top, that's from the wind.
The sand dune Big Red has forced him to retreat and let down his tyres.
Enough of that mess around.
Less air in his tyres makes them flatter, giving better traction. This time, he makes it.
That's all right, but that's no fun.
But there's plenty more to come.
They can't run up a sand quickly, it just climbs every hill.
After lost time on Big Red, Barnesy wants to push hard.
You gotta realise it's rough, pretty rough out here.
His biggest weakness are his tyres, especially after he's let them down.
These tyres worry me. If there's any tree roots sticking in, cut the sidewall, that's it, it's all over.
If Barnesy gets more than 2 flat tyres, he's finished.
I only got one spare on the thing. Sometimes we shed 10.
But each tyre is worth $1,600, a crippling running cost.
Go along this salt ledge of this salt lake now for a while. Right back into these sand hills. 160 k's from Birdsville now, and it's fairly remote. Can't come out here real prepared, otherwise you might get stuck in the desert, you know?
For drivers stranded out here, Barnsley's their only hope.
Most people are pretty happy to see you. Looking for this bloke. We're looking for this bloke now, around about where he should be. And what I usually do when I start getting close, start looking up these gullies in case they've just driven up there to camp, you know?
Barnsley's getting worried. He should have found them by now.
Not like we're going too fast in this thing, so it should be able to see him.
He doesn't know how much food and water the tourists have left. And out here, dehydration is a real threat. In suburban Queensland, Turbo's hit a snag.
A tree decided to break my truck.
A tree branch has toppled his exhaust stack. Now his truck is not roadworthy. And to top it off, part of his load is already falling apart.
Sides blown out on the trailer there. What happens, the air actually gets in through the roller door on the back and it's actually blowing the walls out. And so I've put a strap around it to stop it from happening anymore.
But he's got to get on with the job. This family is moving house to Darwin and everything's got to go.
That should fit in there nicely.
While Turbo delegates the heavy lifting,
go into this corner.
A neighbour offers to work on his blown stack.
Put it back in and tighten it back up. Too easy. That's good. The bags and that I want to try to put up the back there. See? See? Remote.
Even with help, it's midnight before Turbo has his load on.
Go left hand down.
And his truck fixed.
Pretty tight. But it's just the nature of the beast.
Next day, and some welcome news. Best mate and karaoke king, James, is joining Turbo on the road.
James is coming along, one, to help me with the driving. He's also there so he can get his hours up for his road train licence.
Let loose in the Outback.
Hell yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Before the boys can leave, just one last job. Fuel up. Turbo's truck can carry over 1,000 litres of diesel. That's about $1,400 worth.
Not enough money.
Not enough money? I just been in the bank because I had an issue with it last night. Went in the bank, they said it was good to go. See what his card comes up with?
Sure. We'll go back through. You go through?
We'll figure something there. That's all we need. My card declined through, and then James went to put his card through and declined through on that. Limits $1,440 odd.
Turbo has been asked to pay up or park up. He's stranded again.
And it all gets back to that eternal time factor.
In Alice Springs, Steve Grahame is fighting a losing battle against a demanding schedule.
I'm still 3 or 4 hours behind where I wanted to be today to get me up that bloody Tanami road as quick as I can.
He now has 6 days to cover 4,000 kilometres, with 2 more deliveries and a pickup.
That's good to see, 2 empty trailers. Now I can rack them and stack them, load the container and go.
The countdown is on. Inside the container, household furniture. For Steve, it's a red flag.
Furniture and a Tanami is definitely not a good combination.
If it's not packed properly, he'll be delivering a container of firewood.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
Thank you very much too.
With one last push, Steve and Teeny are ready to roll out.
It's good to be on the road again.
It's a smooth start for the next leg. But it doesn't last long.
Well, this is it. We're on the Tanami proper now. And already I can feel those little corrugations pounding into me, just letting me know that we're here.
Steve is still nursing the bruises from the Great Central Road. Now it's the Tanami's turn to shake truck and trucker to their very core.
Around about where he should be.
Deep in the Simpson Desert, Barnsey is scouring the sand dunes for 3 stranded travellers.
Normally they take it, you know, they're on the side of the road where they stop.
Barnsey's come exactly 170 kilometres west of Birdsville to where the tourists should be, but he can't find them. Suddenly, he spots a lone figure.
There's a bloke down there on top of a hill, so I suppose that's where the car is. What are you waiting for a ride, mate?
How are you?
Good.
I'm Bill.
Bill, how are you, Bill?
Hello, Barnsey. How are you going?
Good.
Just over that rise, down the bottom and on the right-hand side.
No worries. We're over here, just over this hill here, somewhere on the right area, and everything's right.
Finally, the cavalry's arrived.
Morning. Yeah, how you getting on out here?
Yeah, we're doing all right.
We parked up and made the call and waited it out. So this is day 3.
John, Barnsey.
John.
I'm my brother Bill.
Yeah, I met Bill.
Oh, right, actually, up the road there.
Bill was 10 k's down.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
No worries.
We were quite relieved to see that big truck come over the hill, that's for sure.
The crippled vehicle can drive, but its 4-wheel drive capability's gone.
We got movement, but not for this kind of country.
It's like coming out here in your push bike.
The Land Rover weighs 3 tonnes. Barnsey will have to piggyback it over the same dunes he barely cleared while empty.
Handbrake work.
To make it back, Barnsey will have to adjust his air pressure. This time, he pumps his tyres up to handle the extra weight.
Got about 50 of these now.
But now he runs a much bigger risk of getting bogged. This dune isn't even a big one.
Might get over yet.
But the extra weight is pushing Barnsey's truck to its limits.
It's off.
13 litres of V8 power might not be enough for this heavy hitchhiker.
Get one more go.
$1,440 odd.
Turbo's credit card has been declined and he can't pay for his fuel. He needs a miracle. A passing trucker may be the answer to his prayers. This Good Samaritan offers to lend him the money.
Stoney helped us out of the pickle. Yeah, been there, done that.
As a fellow owner-driver, Stoney understands crippling cash flow problems.
It's one of those things that happens, you know, if you can't help each other out. What are we doing here? Thanks, Stoney.
Turbo can't believe his luck.
Now, I can get in the truck and I can hightail it out of here. I can make my destination tonight. I'm out of here. Let's go.
But Turbo's got his work cut out. He's already behind schedule.
2 hour delay like that, it throws the spanner right into the works.
And he still has to hook up his trailers. James will follow in a car. This will be loaded onto the road train after their first delivery.
Righto, we're off.
Finally, after weeks of chasing freight and days spent loading, Turbo can make a mile. Next stop, Charters Towers. Or sooner.
Mustering up at the moment. Oh, here we go. Thank you for letting me go, Mr. Cow.
Turbo's desperate to get some road behind him. But his load is now copping 100km/h winds, the same as a Category 1 cyclone. And he's seen something he doesn't like. His quick fix to the walls of the damaged trailer has failed. The side panels are now falling apart.
The wind's blowing inside the trailer and building up pressure, and it's expanding the walls out.
If Turbo doesn't solve the problem, his client could end up with a brake tester that has no walls.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And it's a $30,000 trailer. Plastic.
Feels just like it did the last time I was on here. Shaky.
In remote central Australia, Steve Grahame is getting reacquainted with an old enemy, the Tanami track, and its endless corrugations.
I'll just keep poking away at it.
On the horizon, another hazard looms.
I'm looking at that fire and I'm wondering whether it's going to be close to the road when I get there or not.
It's tinder dry out there, and bushfires can move faster than a truck. Steve's hoping the bolt he fixed on his fuel tank is holding. A flammable leak now would be a disaster.
If it's close to the road, when I get close to it, I will stop and see if I've got no leaking belly tanks or fuel tanks dribbling in place to check things like that.
But only a few kilometres down the road, Steve gets pulled over by a passing mate.
Yeah, roger, mate. I'm just coming up the top of a hill now, so I'll see you in a second. Roger. That's someone just come out of Balgo. They want me to take something back. What do you got, Pope?
20 of unleaded. I forgot to give it to him.
Well, it goes sideways in the toolbox and it won't leak. This would be the worst freight. I'd rather someone gave me an atomic bomb to cart in there than petrol.
So what could possibly go wrong?
Just what Steve needs. More fuel in bushfire country.
Good drive. Don't change gears yet. Well, I'll be blowed. That's a grader up there. That's a sight for sore eyes. I like graders.
The grader has smoothed the section of road ahead.
How far are you done, mate? Yeah, shit house on the WA side, eh? All right, mate, no worries, thank you. I'll take whatever I can get. You have a nice day. Well, the news from the grader drop. Oh, I can't be out of here. That was a big rock in the middle of the windrow. Christ, that'll take out a diff. I would hit something under there. I just hope I haven't hurt nothing. It's just something I've got to deal with, so I'll stop and have a look up here.
It's the lowest of blows. Serious damage from the rock could mean curtains for this job and Steve's next.
It's off.
In the notorious Simpson Desert, Barnsey has come to the rescue of a group of stranded tourists. But now it's him who could do with some help.
Back to the drawing board.
If he can't make it over this dune, he may need to leave the $50,000 Land Rover behind.
Well done. Give me a slow 10 k's here, get down off this fence line. It's pretty rough on the car on the back. Spare tyre fell off.
Corrugations, etc., just bounced off the gas cylinder and it's hanging over the side here. So we're going to put it in the back seat. It'll be a lot safer there. Well, nothing else that can come up, Barty?
Sure, it's right now. That's the whole Land Rover falls off.
You can keep driving if it does.
The Salt Lakes give a short break from the battering of the sand dunes. But on the other side, a patch of scrub full of tyre-piercing sticks.
Scary through here, all the scrub, favourites. Okay, crossing wrong.
Barnsley's tyres make it through.
What do you reckon? Is that, put that dent in that door, did it?
But the trees still get him.
About 70 k's from home.
Still standing between Barnsley and Birdsville, the mother of all dunes.
I think we'll be going over Big Red on the sunset.
Barnsley's now only 40 kilometres from home, but the desert still has him in its grip.
No easy way out of this desert. Big Red.
At 40 metres high, Big Red is the Simpsons' biggest sand dune. The sunset from its peak is spectacular, drawing dozens of tourists. Tonight, they're in for an even bigger show. Barnsley's taking it on, fully loaded.
Big Red, fellas, finally made it.
Out of there.
Mission accomplished. After a 17-hour slog, Barnsley, his truck and 3 relieved travellers have made it out of the Simpson, alive.
Plastic.
In Outback, Queensland, Turbo and mate James are stumped. A trailer they're moving is being blown apart right before their eyes.
Look at this. 1, 2 screw. Where's the other 2?
He needs to find a windbreak for the trailer, and he thinks he's got the solution.
I've got to swap the back trailer to the front trailer to the back trailer.
Moving the trailer into the slipstream of his truck cab might be the answer. He hopes the reshuffle will help, but he can't believe the extent of the damage.
That is un-trucking believable.
Turbo is close to his first drop-off. A farmer outside of Charters Towers is waiting for the water truck. The unload should be routine, but as Turbo reverses up to the dirt loading ramp, he notices a problem.
I can see what I've got to do is I've actually got to make a square face, so that ramp can almost come solid up to here.
Turbo backs himself to complete all necessary earthworks.
So easy.
But making a firm square edge out of soft dirt is trickier than it might seem.
turning into a hole now. It was a loading ramp, now it's going to be the new swimming pool.
Some finishing touches, and Turbo's masterpiece is complete.
It's been a very long time since I've operated a backhoe. All right, now let's have another go. Crack at this. Bob's your auntie.
The ramp is now ready for a simple unload.
All right, go straight back. Oh,
what do we got?
The ramp's collapsed. See if you can go forward.
James gives it all she's got.
Oh, you thing! Brakes in this thing is
Righto. Give it go.
Did it?
Up.
She's got no brakes.
It's got no brakes.
None at all.